You know that feeling, right? That sense that the world is kind of unraveling. Like all the old rules we thought we knew just don't seem to apply anymore. Well, today, we're going to dig into the massive forces that are completely reshaping our world, from the global economy all the way down to our own lives. Let's get right into it.
Man, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? For so many of us, especially Millennials and Gen Z, the 21st century wasn't this amazing new chapter we were promised. It's just been one shock after another. You know, financial crises, a global pandemic, and now, major conflicts. It really feels like a promise was broken.
And right at the heart of that broken promise is a single powerful idea that for the last 40 years has been quietly running the show: neoliberalism. I mean, this thing went from a fringe economic theory to basically the operating system for the entire planet.
So what went wrong? That's the huge question, right? How did this big idea that was supposed to bring prosperity to everyone end up creating a world that feels so unstable, so unequal, especially for working people and the younger generations? Well, we're going to unpack that.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with the initial promise of neoliberalism. Then look at how the latter got pulled up on an entire generation. From there, we'll see how this led to a world in crisis and how a new multipolar world is starting to rise from the ashes.
So, to really get a handle on where we are today, we've got to rewind the clock. We have to go back to the beginning, to the crisis that actually gave birth to this whole world-changing idea.
Back in the 1970s, the thinking was pretty simple. The problem? Government was too big, taxes were too high, and unions were too strong. And the cure? Just unleash the free market. Let it do its thing. The promise was that this rising tide of wealth would, lift all boats.
And what's absolutely wild is just how fast it all happened. Seriously, in about 20 years, neoliberalism went from being this obscure theory to the unquestioned logic driving globalization. It became the default setting for pretty much every major economy on Earth.
But here's the thing. That big promise of shared prosperity, well, it had a really dark side. For the generations that grew up under this new system, it didn't feel like a rising tide at all. It felt more like a straight-up generational betrayal.
Just look at these numbers. They tell a really stark story. By 2025, baby boomers are on track to hold more than half of all wealth. And this isn't some accident. It's the direct result of a system that rewarded owning things, like stocks and houses, way more than it rewarded actual labor, locking in this huge advantage for one generation.
This phrase just captures it perfectly. The boomers, they got to enjoy all the benefits of a stable, post-war economy with strong social safety nets. But the very system they put in place, this neoliberal system, ended up dismantling that contract. It's like they climbed the ladder and then just pulled it up right behind them, making it almost impossible for their kids and grandkids to get that same security.
And what's the real-world impact of all this economic anxiety? Well, it looks like this number. The average fertility rate in developed countries has absolutely tanked from 2.5 back in the 60s to about 1.5 today. People are putting off having families or not having them at all. That is a massive demographic signal that people are deeply pessimistic about the future.
And this isn't just about money. It has a devastating human cost. When you replace stable careers with the constant hustle of the gig economy, and you replace real community with the chase for online validation, you get a massive crisis in well-being. And we're seeing it hit Gen Z the hardest.
I mean, this isn't some abstract theory. This is the day-to-day reality for millions of young people. It's a world of gig work, crushing student loan debt, and this constant feeling that the game is rigged against you.
But the chaos created by this system, it couldn't be contained. It wasn't just an internal problem. It eventually boomeranged back, creating huge crises on the global stage.
The writer Aimé Césaire had this idea he called the boomerang effect. He was talking about how the brutal logic of colonialism eventually came home to roost in Europe. Well, a lot of people see a similar thing happening today. The instability and exploitation that the West exported for centuries is now coming back, creating chaos within their own borders.
And this leads to a really dangerous moment. As the unipolar, US-led order starts to lose its grip on the global economy, the reaction isn't to adapt, it's to double down on military power. And that's a risky strategy that could lead to global conflict instead of a peaceful transition to a new kind of world.
Okay, but while that old order is cracking, something new is being built. All across the global south, countries aren't just complaining about the system anymore. No, they're actively building an alternative.
And this slide really gets at the core difference in philosophy. You have the unipolar model, which is top-down and exclusive. Basically, one power makes the rules for everybody else. And then you have this emerging multipolar world, led by groups like the BRICS nations, that's built on a totally different idea: inclusivity, partnership, and mutual respect.
And let's be clear, this isn't about just swapping one boss for another. The whole point is to move away from a world with one single dominant ideology and toward a more balanced, diverse system where different countries can actually work together as equals.
So what does building this new world actually look like on the ground? Well, it's not just talk. There are very real, concrete steps being taken to build a whole new global financial and political architecture.
Let's just break this down real quick. Step 1. Start chipping away at the US dollar's total control over global trade. Step 2. Build your own independent institutions so you don't have to rely on the old ones. And Step 3, the big one, eventually create a new reserve currency to fundamentally change the global balance of power.
Now this is a slow burn. It's a step-by-step process of building a parallel system. But don't get it twisted. The path is clear. The foundations for a completely new global financial system are being laid right now as we speak. Which of course leaves us with the ultimate question. We are living through this incredible moment, the slow collapse of a 40-year-old system and the birth of something totally new. Is this transition going to be peaceful, or is it going to be chaotic? We don't know. But one thing seems pretty certain. The world we all grew up in is not coming back.